Welcome to the Paul Chandler Show, everyone. I'm your host, Paul Chandler. In tonight's episode, we're going to be using the Padzilla again and viewing a computer animated video. We're going to be seeing how a tracheotomy is being performed. So as we use the Padzillas, just like the other times, tonight I'll be looking at the procedure on the Padzilla and explaining to you, the viewer, what's going on. So then when coders and auditors, we're looking at the documentation, we can actually see what the doctor did before, so that way we can have a good idea and imagine it in our head, and that way then the documentation will make sense for us. So stay tuned, we'll be right back using the Padzilla, and tonight we'll be looking at the procedure of the tracheotomy. Welcome back, everyone. So in tonight's episode, we're using the Padzilla again, and we'll be looking at a tracheotomy procedure being performed. So breaking down that term, tracheotomy, we have the prefix trachea for the trachea, and otomy, a temporary incision. So then during the tracheotomy, to be able to get to the trachea itself, the provider has to do many incisions to get through several different layers. So first, what the provider will do is make an incision with one type of scalpel, cut through the skin. At this point, the doctor gets through the dermis and the epidermis layer, and then they take those two layers of skin and separate it out. Then use a different type of scalpel to cut through the subcutaneous tissue area, because that tissue is more dense than the two layers, the dermis and epidermis. Now we have the layer of muscles. Doctor takes a different type of scalpel once again, because this can be more dense material, and has to cut through all of the muscle material. Then after the point the doctor's cut through all the muscle, now then we have the trachea. And the trachea itself has these several rings that are up and down the trachea. So the doctor has to make the incision between the rings, and there we go. Then we have the incision into the trachea there. At this point then the doctor puts the tubing in, it's secured in place. So then now the doctor has the breathing apparatus going from the trachea down the bronchus and into the patient's lungs. So then that way the apparatus itself will just go into the trachea area. So when the patient is breathing, then the catheter itself, the opening, is done through the trachea and not through the nose or through the mouth anymore. So it's a very simplistic procedure, but that's how we perform the tracheotomy. And also remember too to check out the specialtycoder.com, as in specialtycoder.com, for the Specialty Coder Institute, where we launched the beginning of this month, a credentialing organization for outpatient coders for different specialties. And our exams are all fill in the blank. Passing is a 90% score or above. So that way, to be able to pass our exams, you have to know your stuff. So if you're looking forward to either enter the healthcare coding career, or perhaps you're already a coder or an auditor and would increase your knowledge and your credentials, then visit specialtycoder.com for the Specialty Coder Institute and see how you can do that. But I do want to thank you for watching this episode of the Paul Chandler Show, and have an awesome rest of your night.